Welcome back, everyone. This is Frank Whiskey Charlie Zero Oscar. This is the FT-857D, and I want to do a HF beginner's guide for this. Now, it's not a beginner's guide like my other videos. This is a special beginner's guide. This is an HF. What settings do you need so that you can use the radio for HF? And I think a lot of the times when people use this radio for HF, they're like, this is no good. But there are many settings that you need to take into consideration so that you can really get a sense of what the radio can do for you. All right, so how do you turn it on? This purple button over here. Press and hold, and it turns on. Right now, it has a bioenno battery that will run it. And to turn it off, of course, you press and hold. That goes away. All right, now to reset the whole radio, memory, everything. If you want to reset certain things, look at the manual. It'll tell you what to do. But I'm going to reset the whole thing, so be warned. I'm going to press and hold home, and press and hold the power button at the same time. When I hold them down, I have to wait for some type of chime. All right, let's do it. There we go. Now it's reset. And it goes to some type of orange color, which is nice, but not for video. And you can see that it goes to the 40-meter band. So the first thing I want to do is I want to go into the menu options. To do that, you go here, the function button, press and hold, and it'll go into this. Now what I want to do is I want to use the select knob, and I want to go to menu number 1. And what I want to do is I want to turn on the extra or external menus. So that's on. So now with the select button or knob, I'm going to go to number 41. And we'll talk about this later, but for now, I just want it for the video. So I'm going to do number 41, and it says fix, so it's a display color. And I'm probably going to go to number 13 or something. Let's see how that looks. Or 12. That's not too bad. There's enough contrast right there. Okay, so what I just did there was to change the display color. So now to set what I want when I change in the menu mode or menu options, I'm going to press and hold on the function button. And now I'm back. Okay, so one thing you'll see immediately is the volts, and those are the volts. 12.9, so it gives you the volts. You can see that we're in VFO, lower sideband, and the frequency. And then these buttons down here are the menu functions. We'll talk about those later. Okay, so the volume is this knob right here. Right? So we can put it all the way there, or we can bump it up a little bit. The speaker is over here on the top, and on the side over here, somewhere here, I think it's on the faceplate. Yes, right here. Can't really see it, but on the side here you can put your headphones, which is really neat. That's it's invaluable to do that when you do HF. Okay, so now let's talk about the RF, right? The radio frequency knob here. You can see it says right here squelch and RF, but it's in RF mode right now. I'm going to increase the volume. So if I rotate this knob counterclockwise, what it's doing is basically taking rid of the volume of the antenna, or getting rid of the gain of the antenna. And if I move it this way, I'm giving more volume, moving it to clockwise, giving more volume to the antenna. Let's say, an analogy. but I'm really giving more gain to the antenna, making it more sensitive. All right, now let's talk about the bands. So these buttons over here, you can change the bands, right? And so let's go to the 20 meter band, and you can change the mode right here, these two buttons. So you have digital, FM, AM, CWR, CW, USB, LSB, right? PKT. And for 20 meters, we want to be on the lower sideband. No, upper sideband. Okay. Then let's talk about the side button. There's two side buttons here. There's a top one and the bottom one. The side button over here, if you press it, it gives you memory mode. Press it again, gives you the VFO, which is perfect because that's where we want to be, VFO mode. Another thing too is that you can have stacked frequencies here. So if you press, not press and hold, if you just press the function button once, then you can use the select knob, and you can see that it goes, right now it's on the letter, what letter is that? We got to press the function button again. That's A, right? That's Q, that's A, that's B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, and then you can hear the noise. When it goes into noise, you're in A. Okay, that's where we want. So we want to stack our frequency. So if we press the A beat button, you can see it automatically takes you to another, in this case, another band. So you go back and forth. You can also make both frequencies equal to each other. So if you press and hold here, right, and go back and forth to VFO A, VFO B, right? And then you can do a split, which is right here. Okay, so that's great. We have, we know where the band is, the mode, the RF, AF, right? How to turn it on. Now, let's talk about the frequencies, right? How do we change that? Well, we have this knob, and if you look over here very carefully, I'm going 1 kilohertz at a time, right? That's going to take a little while for you to go to where you want to go, but we'll show you. I'm going to show you another way. So that's 1 kilohertz, and over here on the side, it looks like I'm at 2.5 kilohertz. You see that? So I'm using the select knob. I didn't press it, but you can see I'm going 2.5, 0, 7.5, 5.0, 2.5, right? So it's at 2.5 kilohertz steps, which is awesome. Okay, so how do I change the steps? So if you press on the function button, press and hold, and then let's go to number 6. For number 6, the FM step is, for the AM steps, you can have 5, 2.5, is that it? 2.5, 5, 10, 12.5, 25 kilohertz. Okay, let's go to 52 for the FM one. 52. The way I got here was I press and hold the function key. So this one on FM steps, I have 5 kilohertz, 6.25 kilohertz. That's right, it's very sensitive. 5, 6.5, 10, 12.5, 15, 20, 25, and 50 kilohertz. Okay, but what I want is the SSB steps. That's 82. There's many menus here. There's a kind of like a sheet of codes, and I'll put it on the description below where you can download that sheet somewhere on the web. Okay, so here you can see, remember we were moving the select dial and I was getting 2.5 kilohertz? Well, we can have 1 kilohertz, 2.5 kilohertz, 5 kilohertz. I like to keep it at 1. Alright, now to lock it in, press and hold the function button till you hear it come out. Okay, so now when I move my select button, I'm running at 1 kilohertz. One other thing too, if you move it over here, right? Let's say you're over here at 0.46, move the dial, the select dial, it'll round it. See that? I'll keep it at 0, 00. Okay, now let's put this dial kind of like here. And there's kind of like a dimple here, right? I'm going to put it there. I'm going to use a select dial here. I'm going to put it at double zeros. Okay, everything's 0. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this knob. Now let's see how far this knob goes at 1 turn. Basically at 1 turn it does 2 kilohertz, right? Very slowly. Okay. But if we press the power button once, you get a running man. Okay, now let's see what happens when you twist this 1 complete turn. You almost get 20 kilohertz. Okay, so definitely it's much faster, and you can move this, you can scroll this quickly, the frequency. I'm going to click on the power button once, the running man is gone. Okay, now we need maybe 2 more things and we're kind of ready to transmit, but there's going to be more. RF power, that's important. Function, press and hold on the function button. We're going to go to number, I don't know, 75 or something. 75. Default is at 100 watts. We don't want it at 100 watts. We can lower it down to like 85 or something. Okay. Where does it go all the way down? It goes to like 5, I think. QRP status. Yep. Okay. Goes to 5. I want to have it at around 80 something. 85. Press and hold. Get out. Or set. Okay. Another thing I want to do is the mic gain. I always like my gain to be a little more higher than usual. So press and hold on the function button. Let's go to number 51 for FM gain. I think it's 51. 51 FM gain, right? You can change that. I'm going to change it to maybe 60. Probably don't need too much. Okay, then I want to go to number 81. This one I do want to change. I want to change it 81, so SSB my gain, right? So I'm going to put this one at 75. I'm probably going to be heard better. Okay, I'm going to click and hold the function button. Okay, so power my gain, right? Now how do you unlock this? So there's 2 buttons here, right? The first button here gives you memory VFO, but the second button in the bottom locks it, and there's a little lock, and it locks the dial, but it doesn't lock the select knob and other things. So if we press on the lock key one more time, we can change the lock ability. So if you press and hold on the function button again and you go to number 54. 54. Okay, here we go. Okay, it says dial, but you can also do frequency, the panel, and all. I don't like frequency because then you can't touch the select or any other things because you won't be able to change the frequency. I leave it at dial, but you can play around with it, and you can definitely figure out which one you like. I'm going to press and hold on function. Now it's locked in. Okay, now let's talk about some of the menu options that comes with the radio. This is going to refine the way you hear or listen to your signal. Some of these things, most of these things, and some other little cool things along the way. And again, it's subjective, but these are best practices that you might want to consider. So right now, I mean, you can use the radio and it goes, and as long as you have an antenna attached to it and the SWR looks great, I think you'll be okay. But let's talk about the menu options. The first one, so the menu options, right? If you press the function button once, not press and hold, just press, and we did that at the beginning, you can see that it goes to A, B, C, D, and so forth, right? And if you leave it alone, it'll disappear eventually. There you go. It wants to measure the S meter, and the S meter, you can bring it all the way clockwise to be a sensitive, and then lower down the volume. Okay, so let's go to menu option MFL, right? So press once on the function button. Let's go to F. No, let's say L. E, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L. Okay, L. Now, let's put a little volume on this. And a little bit of, yeah, it's already all the way to the right, which is the volume of the antenna is all the way up. There's no antenna hooked up to this anyway. Here's some audio. And you might hear some changes in the audio tone. Probably not. But you get a sense. Okay. AGC. Automatic Gain Control. It's best if you have this turned on. Okay. AGC, what it is, the automatic gain control, to me, what it does, it will control those very loud sounds that are coming in, and it'll adjust it so it won't be as loud. Or maybe even some weak signals, maybe give it a little more gain. But if you press, now it's turned on, if you press this button, B, can't really hear a difference. Okay. But when there's a lot of noise going on, you'll see that the AGC will help in controlling some of that loud signal noises. So that's recommended, that should be turned on. For SSB, you press the C button. Right now it's on auto, but we'll put it on slow. You want to put it on slow for SSB. And the noise blanketer is the NB button. If you press this one is one of those ignition noises that you have in your car, or spurious noise that might occur. To me, I can't really hear a difference. Okay, now let's go to another menu option. The MFM as in Nancy. press the function button, just press it and go to M, which is right here. Now we have a few buttons here. The IPO button is that you want to press this one. And that you can hear definitely a difference. So when you press this button here, when you press it, what you're doing is you're bypassing the preamp. And as long as the S meter is moving on background noise, additional front end gain is not necessary. Okay, the wisdom is that the higher bands, you don't need preamps, and the lower bands you do. And 20 meters is one of those gray areas. Do you put a preamp or not? You definitely don't need the preamp to be on. So this will bypass the preamp. Turn this on and you'll see that you'll get better performance on 20. And then you have the little eye icon. That tells you that the IPO is on. So try that, see if you like it. I definitely do feel like it's necessary. Now let's go to the next menu option, MFP. I'm going to lower this down. Yeah, I'm going to lower this down. Let's press function first. MNOP. Aha. Okay, let's increase it just a little bit. So the DNR is the noise reduction. And supposedly, let's see. Yeah, you can hear it kind of like a little bit more, less louder, a little more muted. Now, that will enhance the signal to noise ratio for weak signals. And if you move the RF dial clockwise, you might be able even to get a better result. Remember, when you move the RF dial to the right, you're decreasing the volume of the antenna, quote unquote, the gain, because the more gain you put, the more noise. The less gain, the less noise, and maybe you can enhance your weak signal with the DNR. Okay, noise reduction. Now you also have a DNF, this one right here. Now this one is a notch filter. You can also hear it too. A notch filter might be useful to maybe narrow down something that you're trying to hear. And this other button, the DBF, that's for CW, apparently to do something with CW's filter. I don't know. But I know CW, you can always look at it in the manual. Okay, this radio has a Collins filter, which is pretty neat. So that is on MFN. Menu function, Nancy. So press here, and here's Nancy. Here's the ceramic filter, CF. This is the default. I do have a video of installing the Collins filter. You can always watch that. And this you have to buy separately. This is a crystal filter. And again, it's really hard to tell on video. All right, now we're going into something that is really interesting, and that's the meter, right? So if you press function and you go to I, wherever that is, here it is. So here we have the meter. Now, when you press and hold on meter, you can turn it on or you can turn it off. I'm going to leave it on. We're going to leave the meter on. Here I'm going to have to press the function button. But For the meter, I can press, when I speak, I can look at the power, and I'm not sure what MOD is. If you know what mode is, tell me please. I couldn't find it on the manual. SWR, definitely. When you speak, the meter will change to SWR. ALC, which is the automatic level control, which is a class of circuit designed to backfeed information about the output signal to an amplifier. And the goal is to change the parameters of the amplifier so that clean output that remains will have a certain parameter that is attained. Definitely is something that I need to read up on. And display, by the way, if you want your numbers to be big, that's where this is. So that's on, if you press on the function button, MultiFunction I, and you press on display, gives you the big numbers. Okay, now something even more interesting that I've discovered. If you press and hold on the function button and you go to number 41, which we did earlier, right, and remove the dial, it gives us the different colors, right, which is cool. Now, if you press the select button once, there's a little thing that moved over to the underline under fix, and what you can do is you can change what the colors do. And you can look it up in the manual. There is memory, what is that? Memory GRP, I think the memory bank changes colors when you choose one. Mode, I don't remember what mode is. MRT, that's what we're going to use in a minute. And then VOF, I guess, changing the bands. But MRT is what we're going to use. And what that does, and I'm going to press and hold on this. When I have SWR, see that the color changed? It was blue, now it's green. So it's green because it knows that the SWR is low. But when I speak, and if the SWR is a little bit high, this will change color. They'll change it to a red. But if the SWR is pretty consistent, it'll stay green. And it'll do that for ALC power, and I guess mode. It's pretty neat because it gives you an indication. You could probably use that. I'll lower this down. You can probably use the color to also, let's say you have a screwdriver antenna, right? And you're trying to find the SWR. The best way, of course, is to listen as the screwdriver goes up and down. But then you can use this to get a sense if the SWR is getting better or not, because as you speak, or maybe use an FM carrier, use FM to have a carrier so that it can give you an SWR reading. Then maybe as the color changes, you can get a sense of where the dip is for your screwdriver antenna. Either way, I think that's pretty neat, having it that way. Yeah, having your own color is pretty cool too. But this here gives me an indication very quickly if there's something wrong with SWR. And then if you press and hold on function, and you go in number 42, you can change the contrast. It goes up to 13 apparently. We'll keep it at, I don't know, 8 or something, 9. Press and hold, and then it sets. If you press and hold on the function button, and then go to number 43, it gives you intensity. It only goes from 1, 2, and 3. And if whatever you choose, you press and hold, and then you're locked in there.